Problem I often hear is when I meditate, I stop meditating. And what I ask, well, what do you mean by that? They usually say, well, I started thinking about or working on a problem, and then I realized that I was thinking about something else, and then I said, oh, I must not be meditating. Okay, and then they say, oh, I stopped meditating in the middle of this. Many students say this happens to them. Well, when you meditate, your mind drifts off into another direction, and you were focusing on one thing, and all of a sudden you start thinking about something else, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, gee, I must not be meditating anymore. Well, you're still meditating. You haven't stopped. What's happened is some area of stress came up in your life, and you start focusing on that. And then when that area of stress gets relieved, you go, oh, I'm not meditating on what I was working on, and then your mind goes back on course, and you start working on what you were working on again. This is normal, and you can think of these stresses like when you have a soda, when you have a glass of soda and you see the little bubbles come up from the bottom, and as they go to the top, they sometimes they get a little bigger. As these bubbles come up, you can think of that as stress being relieved. So you go to a meditative straight state, your body becomes relaxed, and all of a sudden some stress is bubbling up and says, I want to get out of here. I want to be relieved. And then when the stress comes up, you start focusing on that for a little bit. And then as the bubble releases, you go, oh, I'm not focused on what I was working on. And you move back to what you're working on and you start working on that again. This is completely normal. And it's not that you have stopped meditating, as your body said, there's some other area of stress that's more important than what you're working on that I want to get rid of. So when you drift off and start focusing on something else and say, gee, I'm not meditating, you are doing exactly what meditation is supposed to do, relieve stress. The more you meditate, the less this will happen, and you will gain laser focus on whatever your current project is that you're working on. To overcome these drifts, simply meditate more or take a refresher course and release the stresses that have built up in your life over time. Remember, when you drift off when you're meditating, you are releasing unresolved stress that has built up over time.